I can generally say that, generally speaking, when I book a flight with Emirates in their luxurious first class, it is a positive and wonderful experience. I still get at least 90% of what is definitely, absolutely promised to me here. And unfortunately, I have to be very honest, it has gotten somewhat worse. I can no longer speak of 99%, a bit. Still, a solid 90% is much more than other airlines, often only approximately 50. Therefore, this is not a dramatic development, but it is a development that I observe and that does not bring me any joy. Because when I come to the realization that I make a reservation with Emirates in first class, and I actually only receive a distinction between a business chauffeur and a first-class chauffeur in Dubai, meaning as a first-class passenger, I sit in a larger limousine, and as a business traveler in a smaller limousine, that I only have this in Dubai, and Emirates doesn't make this clear on their website, it's indeed a tragedy. Because it is not clearly stated there, and I actually made an extra video about it, which is indeed outside of Dubai. In every other destination outside of Dubai, all chauffeur services for first and business class are indeed, in fact, truly the same. And I repeatedly emphasize this clearly with the Customer Relations Department of Emirates via email. And I probably definitely annoyed them. But it was absolutely necessary until they finally very clearly confirmed to me that, for example, now here in Vienna, it doesn't make a difference whether you have a first-class ticket or even a business-class ticket. In fact, actually, you are always picked up with a business-class chauffeur service, and they have completely discontinued the first-class services, saving costs. Unfortunately, I find this very negative with Emirates. This makes the unique experience somewhat smaller in any way. And thus, from the 99% that I once mentioned, I easily deduct 5%, because that is the overall experience that I rate at 99% overall. And the chauffeur-driven service is indeed easily 5% less than it used to be, even though something else was promised, and you can't visually tell what Emirates actually means now. In fact, it's quite unclear, in reality. You are only presented with the fait accompli afterwards. And as I sometimes learn from your emails or chats, it is even the case that in China or Africa, a chauffeur is often not offered at all. These are, of course, all small things, but if you want to be number one in the world, you absolutely have to provide top service. You can't just make promises, you definitely have to stand by them and not make excuses or simply ignore them later. You absolutely have to deliver on your commitments. Because that's what Emirates does. They keep silent about it, but no longer offer it. The same topic, what about the massage? The massage used to be half an hour for first and 15 minutes for business. After COVID, everything was cancelled. This means that business travelers no more get a free massage. Instead, they have to pay for it. And all first-class guests have a maximum of 15 minutes left. I assume that they will also cut this entirely in the near future because, of course, these employees at the airports also need to be paid. And I find it indeed dramatic that they only mention in the advertising promise that you get a massage, but no longer specify exactly how long. And of course, they have introduced this little bit of a cheat package. In my opinion, that's another 4% less from the 100, or rather from the 99% that were promised. And if I continue like this, I will only end up with 90% of the performance that was promised to us. Because we clearly have a long history. It remains quite incomprehensible to me that with Emirates, for example, also, like with Singapore Airlines, I do not have a clear, definite certainty. For example, today flies the 777, and in the 777 is the game changer. And that's what it's about today. It's about the fact that I have a flight that doesn't clearly and distinctly tell me whether it's a game changer or a regular first class. And then there's the regular first class, which includes the very old or the last generation that's still available too. So you have some small differences here as well. The older one still has smaller monitors. The middle one already has slightly larger, more modern monitors. Well, and the game changer is, of course, fantastic. Mercedes and NASA and everything that's involved, an extremely amazing experience. And again, I think Emirates is missing out on real money and marketing opportunities here. Because if they made it clear to us that, for example, the Game Changer is now flying from Vienna in the 777, we would be willing to spend 500 or 1,000 euros more for it, because it is a completely different experience. It is something very special. So one would naturally say that Emirates is really wasting money here. It happened that I indeed flew and was very surprised when I actually boarded the 777. And it was switched to an A380, but the second flight of the day was a 777. And I get on this plane and there was a Game Changer set up with 6 seats. I vividly remember that is, of course, a joy. In the end, you could even say it negatively, because why didn't they inform us about it? Maybe I don't even like these Game Changers. That's what I mean. We customers are simply not asked anymore. We are presented with a fait accompli. And this is the case with all airlines. They all make no difference. Singapore Airlines offers the A380 with the new first class, but if you're lucky, you'll get it, and if you're unlucky, you won't, and then you'll be sitting in an old one. And that's what Emirates does, saying sometimes we offer a Game Changer and sometimes not. You can naturally and easily tell. So when you look at the booking details, there are either a total of 6 seats in total or a total of 8 seats. 8 seats is indeed the slightly older model version. The 6-seater version is actually indeed the Emirates Game Changer. And sitting and flying in this Game Changer is, of course, an absolutely, completely and utterly different flight experience compared to the last generation of first class with Emirates. Because with Emirates, you have your cabin completely closed off on both sides. No one disturbs you at all. You put on a do not disturb sign outside. And then finally, you have peace for your entire flight. Before landing, a knock, they say, "Please fasten seatbelts, open window shades, we are preparing to land." Well, this is really indeed a truly great joy. And especially this seat, this fantastic seat. You sit there, you can sleep there, you can really dream there. The astronaut seat alone is so gigantic that it feels like you're floating. It's like you're in a rocket going up, that's the feeling. So I find it unfortunately unfortunate that Emirates doesn't currently have this new first class everywhere yet. The Game Changer, and this was such an incredibly amazing surprise, for example, indeed. Now that the 777 Game Changer is starting from Vienna, which also starts from Frankfurt, it is still, and this is the tragedy, no guarantee that you will get it on your next flight as well. I find this a very significant and dramatic development. And I hope that in the coming years, we will see a significant and noticeable improvement, rather than a deterioration. The Game Changer is now also available in the 777 from Vienna, still from Frankfurt, from London, and I believe from Zurich. Otherwise, always pay attention when booking. A specific seat configuration means Game Changer.